Real talk. What would you do if elite operators paused mid-stride, stare at you like you were a memory with a pulse, and the entire cabin went silent? That's exactly what happened to Nova Reyes in row 7, seat A. The jet's hum was steady. The coffee smelled like burned hope, and a baby 2 rows back was losing a one-sided argument with gravity. Then the aisle filled with heavy boots, low voices, and an aura that said this wasn't a random security check. One look at Nova, and they froze. Not because she was famous, because she looked like someone who wasn't supposed to exist anymore. You ever feel your stomach fall before the plane does? Nova felt that. She hadn't slept for 3 days. She'd been incidentally featured on security monitors she never asked to be on. And now, an operator with gray at his temples and a scar like a question mark across his jaw lifted a fist, and the whole cabin inhaled at once. "Don't panic," he said, which is exactly how you know to panic. The man closest to Nova leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. She has her mother's eyes. Her mother. The same woman the world said died in a training accident. The same woman whose name, Commander Hallie Reyes, still made special operators straighten their backs without knowing why. If the story ended there, you'd roll your eyes and click away. But stay with me, because the way it ends is wilder than the way it starts. Nova kept her hands in plain sight. "Komish, is this an arrest?" she asked, trying for a joke and landing somewhere between brittle and brave. "Protective extraction," the scarred operator said. His call sign was Flint. You could hear the capital F. From who? From anyone who gets paid to make this flight your last. That's a fun line to hear at 30,000 feet. People were already side-eyeing, phones halfway lifted like moths to scandal. A flight attendant mouthed, "Are we okay?" And Flint gave a tiny nod that said, "We're not, but pretend." 3 rows back, a guy in a charcoal suit adjusted his tie like he was about to sell a building. Nothing weird, except his eyes didn't track the drama. They tracked the exits. "Why me?" Nova asked. Flint studied her face, like the answer was written under her skin. "Because you look like a promise your mother made before she vanished." Nova laughed once. No joy in it. "Great. I'm a promise." "Worse," Flint said. "You're the key." And that's when the cockpit chime dinged and the captain said a sentence you never want to hear. "We're experiencing unexpected navigation issues." Translation: something was lying to the plane. If you've ever seen professionals switch from steady to surgical, you know how fast it happens. Flint murmured into a secure mic. 2 operators peeled off toward the galley. One posted near the cockpit door with a smile that said, "Absolutely not." "GPS spoof," someone said. "Instrument drift." The cabin lights flickered. Brief. Enough to make the guy in the suit lift one eyebrow. Nova's pulse went from jog to sprint. She squeezed the armrest, thought of her mother's last text the night before the accident. "If the stars don't feel like stars, trust the stories." "Which what?" Flint noticed her go pale. "Nova leasing. There's a private outfit with a pretty name and ugly habits. Obsidian Crown. Your mother fought them in places no one will admit exist. They lost her in the reports. They didn't lose the grudge. And they're on this plane?" He gave her the kind of look you give a thundercloud. "They're everywhere until proven otherwise." As if on cue, the charcoal suit stood, smooth as an apology. A flight attendant reached for him. Too slow. The operator in the galley was faster. In 2 moves it was wrists pinned, jacket stripped, a matte black badge slapping the carpet. The symbol on it. A crown with a fracture through the middle. "Obsidian," Flint said. The man smiled. "You're late." "Hands where we can see them," Flint warned. The man complied, docile as a cat in a sunbeam. "You know what I love about airplanes?" His voice was soft. "No exits." The overhead speakers popped like bubble wrap. The captain again, tighter now. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated." "Nova," Flint said, "look at me." She did. "Your mother left a fail-safe. Did she ever tell bedtime stories?" Nova blinked. "Everyone tells bedtime stories. Not like hers." And it hit Nova, sudden as a misstep in the dark. Halley's star stories. Not constellations like, "Here's Orion, say goodnight." Stories about why the stars lined up the way they did. Phrases that stuck like burrs. "Altair flies crooked when the numbers don't add." Deneb waits at 7, because 7 is safe. Vega hums when it matters. She'd rolled her eyes as a kid. Now, those lines lit up in her head like runway lights. The Sukov gag rolled his tongue. Flint's partner swore. Tooth capsule. They tried to stop him. Too late. He went limp, a sickly calm settling over his face. The cabin swallowed a collective gasp. This is a message, Flint said. No, Nova thought. This is a countdown. The plane bucked. Not turbulence. A shove, the kind that says someone else is driving. O2 masks winked out and back. A baby shrieked. A laptop skittered down the aisle like an ice skate. Electromagnetic interference, someone reported. Spoof is live. They're corralling us off the airway. Can they make us drop? Nova asked. They can make us meet someone we didn't plan to meet. Meet who? Boarding party, Flint said. You can't board a plane in midair, right? That's what everyone thinks. But if you park a weather research drone close enough and sling a tether with a micro saw to a service panel, well, you can knock. The fuselage made a sound like a metal hiccup. Operators moved. Belts clicked. A passenger whispered, "Is this real?" Unfortunately, Nova said, surprising herself. Flint tossed her a look. You okay? No, she said, honest. But I'm here. Good answer. Someone triggered a foam sprayer. Gray mist crawled across the panel line to jam the cutting wheel. A shape thumped outside, frustrated. Then the cockpit door banged once from the inside, then again. Autopilot won't hold, a muffled voice shouted. Flint's decision landed hard. Nova with me. They hustled Nova past the galley, down the narrow spine toward a maintenance hatch. You know anything about Hallie's habits? Flint asked. Just our nonsense, Nova said. Hallie didn't do nonsense. She had blades and nursery rhymes. Cool, I love that phase. At the hatch, an operator named Rin popped the panel and swore. Someone had already been here. A device set like a tick on the wiring loom, blinking a smug green. Rin pointed. It's spoofing position and masking faults. If we rip it, we could hard fault the bus. Translation. Nova said. Rip it wrong, we go blind, Rin said. Nova stared at the blink. Long, short, short, long. It looked familiar. Not the pattern, the rhythm. Altair flies crooked when the numbers don't add. Deneb waits at 7. Vega hums when it matters. You have a better idea? Flynn asked. Nova nodded. Yeah, don't laugh. We're fresh out of jokes. My mom taught me to map star names to numbers. A equals 1, L equals 12, T equals 20. Long story. If the blink is Altair, then the crooked one is the checksum. You cut the second lead after the 9th blink, not the first after the 8th. Ren stared. That's insane, Nova said. Agreed. Flint nodded once. Do it. Ren counted under breath. Knife. Snip. The device screamed, then died. The plane steadied like a drunk catching the table. You just reset the lie, Flint said. Nova half laughed, half shook. My mom really used bedtime for cyber war. They got 10 seconds of calm. That's all. The drone outside spat a second tether. Another panel began to sing. Back in the cabin, 2 shapes in maintenance uniforms. Where did they even come from? Were already in the aisle, tossing smoke like party favors. The smoke wasn't for lungs. It was for cameras. Footage goes fuzzy. Lawyers go quiet. Flint's team moved clean. No fireworks. Just close in, elbows and wrists, muscle memory older than regret. One of the fakes broke toward Nova. Bold choice. He grabbed. She pivoted. Thank you. YouTube self-defense at 2 a.m. He got a tray table to the teeth. He went down surprised that reality had opinions. Nice swing, Rin said deadpan. I play him in economy class, Nova said, panting. Across the aisle, a teenage girl peeking from behind her hoodie gave Nova a shaky thumbs up. The signal wasn't much. It still lit something warm in Nova's chest. The second fake drew a ceramic blade. Rin intercepted. 2 beats later, the blade slid harmless across the carpet like a bad idea, losing momentum. Crown collar pin. Flint observed, towing the fake's lapel. They stopped hiding. Or they want you to know, Nova said. Either way, he replied, we land now. The intercom crackled. Prepare for emergency descent. You could feel the cabin buckle into the idea of falling. People reach for hands, for strangers, for anything. That's humanity for you. Terrified together, still together. Flint crouched by Nova's seat as the plane angled down. Your mother once pulled us out of a mountain valley blind. She made us promise that if this day came, we'd find you first. Why? Nova asked. Because she threaded the hole in their armor and stitched the drawstring closed. Obsidian crown can buy people systems ground. They can't buy the sky. She hid proof where the sky keeps score. The stars, Nova said. Her stories, Flint confirmed. Their coordinates, dates, checkpoints, and something else. What? A drop you're not supposed to reach unless you are you. No pressure. The plane's wheels kissed concrete with a squeal that sounded like gratitude. Brakes hit. Luggage bonked. Someone yelled, "We're alive," like they'd invented it. Then 3 ambulances rolled toward the aircraft from the service road. Lights off. Too fast. Too early. Too interested. Company, Reyes said. Copy, Flint answered and stood. Nova, on my shoulder. Whatever happens, stay in our shadow. Cool, Nova muttered. Totally normal sentence. The door popped. Heat flooded in, sticky and sour. A ground crew in neon vests jogged up, flanked by paramedics with glossy cases. Their patches said Metro EMS. Their eyes said, not even a little. Ren frowned. They parked nose side. Why's that matter? Nova asked. Real EMS follow Tower's diagram. Nose side blocks the tug. It's a trap and an invoice. The lead medic climbed the stairs, smiling like a magazine ad. Clean, safe, utterly wrong. We'll take the injured first. Flint stepped into the doorway, easy as a closed door. Names. Officer Grant. This is Morales, Chun. Flint's gaze flicked to the patch on the case. Tiny, almost nothing. A fractured crown. Yeah, he said. You're not riding this ride. Things went loud. Not gun loud. Physics loud. Shoulders, knees, the smack of plastic on metal. Curses in 3 languages. One medic lunged at Nova with a hypodermic like a magic trick. She batted his wrist, and the needle stuck a seat. The vinyl hissed, deflating like a cheap lie. Ren shoved Nova behind a galley cart. Stay down. Nova peered through the gap. One of the paramedics whispered into a collar mic. Asset in sight. Secondary team green. Secondary team from where? Answer. The cargo door. You don't think about the cargo hold unless your suitcase wanders. But down there, another hatch hissed open. 2 more figures in vests slipped out and started up the rear stairs, quiet as regret. Rear breach, Ren barked. Flint didn't flinch. Ren, with me. Nova. I know, Shadow. Actually, he said, lead. Excuse me. You know the pattern we don't. We follow you to the drop. If we get split, you run east along the service fence and count 7 towers. Deneb waits at 7. Ring any bells? Nova's throat went tight. Yeah, she said. It does. Flint grinned without humor. Atta girl. They moved like a small storm. The rear team met them halfway. Someone tried a baton. Flint took it like a courtesy and returned it like a promise. The pilot appeared, a little gray, a lot angry. Tower says hold position. Who are you people? Friends, Flint said. Very rude friends. Nova tugged his sleeve. If we don't move now, we're going to be surrounded by people who are not friends. Copy that, Flint said, and keyed his mic. Vanguard staged the bird. We're pushing to east fence. The what now? The pilot asked. Emergency exit, Ren answered. Rated 4, oh no. Is this legal? Absolutely not, Ren said. But it's necessary. They spilled down the stairs into a blast of tarmac heat. Sirens in the distance. Real ones, probably. Hard to tell. Eyes up, Flint warned. Nova counted under her breath. 1 tower. 2. 3. She wanted to laugh at the insanity of it. Counting light poles while wearing a stranger's adrenaline and her mother's ghost. By Tower 6, a pickup with a magnetic airport logo skidded into their path. 2 men hopped out, too fit for paperwork. Crown pins flashed in the sun. Ren didn't stop. She slid across the hood like she'd been waiting her whole life to do that, then shoulder-checked crown number 1 back into his door. Flint took crown number 2 into a friendly nap. Tower 7 waited like a finish line. Behind it, a chain-link gate with a keypad sat under a sign. Authorized vehicles only. Know the code? Ren asked. Nova looked at the keypad. 10 digits, pound, star. She heard her mother's voice. Vega hums when it matters. In her head, Vega equals V equals 22, E equals 5, G equals 7, A equals 1. Reduce with the old Halley trick. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. 4-5-7-1. Try 4571, Nova said, feeling ridiculous. Ren punched it. The gate gave a grumpy electronic beep and rolled back. Okay, Ren said. I hate that worked. Welcome to my childhood, Nova said. Beyond the gate lay a maintenance yard and, tucked in a corner, an old windsock tower with a metal locker bolted to its base. The locker's paint was sunburned and peeling. Across it, in flaking stencils, were 3 star names. Altair, Deneb, Vega. Subtle, Ren said. Flint scanned the perimeter. 2 minutes. Mox. Nalvaknelt, Fingershaking. The lock was a dial. Her mother had taught her this one too. Not left to 20, right to 7 like normal. Left to the story that fits, right to the number it hides. She spun stop, breathed. Altair flies crooked when the numbers don't add. 20? No. 22? Maybe. Deneb waits at 7. Easy. Vega hums when it matters. 4571 again. The lock clicked. Inside, a weatherproof pouch, a drive, and a card with Halley's handwriting, unmistakable even through Nova's blur of tears. If you found this, you're in it. Don't be brave. Be smart. Proof inside. They can't buy the sky. Sirens got louder. Crown shapes spilled around the corner like spilled ink. Flint shouldered up. Got it. Nova pocketed the drive. Got it. Then we go. They didn't make it back to the runway clean. No one does. A Crown SUV fishtailed into their path. Doors flew open, hands lifted, a chorus of don't in too many accents. Flint raised his own hands. You sure? He called. You want this many witnesses? Crown hesitated. It was small, a blink. It was enough. A DHS convoy screamed onto the service road with the righteous fury of paperwork done right. Someone had finally called the actual grown-ups. Bad timing for the bad guys. Perfect for everyone else. Hand where we can see them. Crown scrambled. Flint's team didn't. Ren's grin had actual joy in it now. Nova, she said, time to be famous. Nova stepped forward, breathing like a human again. She held the pouch shoulder high. Inside this is everything they pay to hide. You've been chasing a ghost named Halley Reyes for years. Surprise. The ghost taught her kid to read the sky. A DHS agent with absolutely no patience took the pouch like it was a newborn. We'll verify. Please do, Nova said. Publicly. The agent nodded once. Respect, not trust, but respect is fuel. Flint faced Nova and, in front of everyone, saluted. Not for show. For memory. Your mother saved my life more than once. You just did it again. Nova dropped her shoulders. For the first time in days, she let herself feel tired. I'm not her. No, Flint said. You're you. That's the point. A camera phone somewhere caught the angle of her face, the way the wind pushed hair across her cheek, the exact moment fear turned into fire. That image would race across feeds later with 1,000 dumb captions. But the ones that mattered would say, she looks like Halley Reyes. She acts like Nova. And as the Crown team got cuffed and the sirens finally sounded like safety, Nova looked east. The stars weren't visible yet, but she could feel them all the same, patient, precise, keeping score. Hey, Ren said, bumping her shoulder. You okay? Nova smirked. No, but I'm here. Good answer. If you stuck with Nova this far, you're my kind of person. Smash subscribe, drop a comment with the word Vega, so I know you're in, and tell me. If your parent left you a map written in stars, would you follow it or rewrite it? Hit like to keep this series alive, and share it with that one friend who always accidentally solves the puzzle before everyone else. See you in the next chapter.